Welcome back to the Power of Possibility channel. Today we're looking at something super important for entrepreneurs these days. Personal branding.
Yeah, it's really interesting how important it's become.
Yeah, it can really make a difference in everything, from getting hired to how people see your whole company.
Yeah.
We found some research that really shows just how big a deal this is.
It's wild how much things have changed. We used to think branding was just for big companies,
Right.
But now building your own personal brand is almost like as important as your resume.
That's so true.
Yeah.
In this article from Entrepreneur, it really makes that point. They have some
Yeah.
stats that are pretty surprising. Like, they found that people with strong personal brands were way more likely to get noticed by new employers. Like, way more.
Oh, wow.
It was 50% compared to only 14% for those with weaker brands.
Wow, that is a huge difference.
Yeah. And another one, 57% of employers said they're less likely to even interview someone if they can't find them online.
I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? Like, in a world where there's just so much information all the time, your personal brand is how you stand out. It's your way of telling everyone, like potential employers or clients, that you're not just another face in the crowd.
So if it's really that important, what exactly are we talking about when we say personal branding?
Right.
Is it just about being, like, insta-famous?
No, it's definitely not just about being famous online or having a ton of followers. It's more about shaping how the world sees you. It's being strategic about it, taking control of how people see your skills and what you stand for and what makes you different.
Okay, so it's not just about being popular. It's about being strategic and intentional.
Exactly.
I like that. This article actually outlines 8 strategies for building a personal brand. Should we go through those?
Yes, let's dive in.
Awesome. So the first one is defining your brand identity.
Okay.
So that sounds kind of basic, but I'm guessing it's more than just like picking a logo and colors, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's way more than that. It starts with really looking at yourself, understanding what your values are and what you're passionate about and what you believe in. It's like, what's your story? What makes you tick?
So you're saying it's about finding who you really are as a professional and letting that shine through.
Yeah, exactly. Once you know that, then you can start building your brand around it.
Right.
Everything you do should match that core identity.
Got it. So once you've figured that out, the next step is your online presence.
Right.
But it seems like everyone and their dog is online these days. How do you even stand out in all that noise?
That's a great point. Just being online isn't enough anymore. You have to be smart about it. You have to think about what platforms make sense for your audience. Like, if you're a visual artist, Instagram might be your thing.
Right.
But if you're a business consultant, LinkedIn might be better.
Right.
It's all about putting your energy where the right people are.
So quality over quantity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Be where the people you want to reach are.
Okay. And what about content creation? That seems like a big part of this too, right?
Absolutely. Creating content is so important for showing that you know what you're talking about. And I don't just mean blog posts. I mean like podcasts, videos, even just what you post on social media.
Yeah.
It's all about showing your expertise and giving people something valuable.
I like that. It's like showing, not just telling, but how do you make sure people actually see your content and connect with it, especially with so much competition out there?
That's where it gets really interesting. You have to combine strategy and creativity. You got to think, what does your audience really need? What do they care about? What keeps them up at night?
Right.
Then create content that addresses those things. Offer solutions, insights, a different way of looking at things. And don't be afraid to try different formats and see what works best for your audience.
So know your audience. Tailor your message to them. This is making a lot of sense. Well, the next thing they talk about is networking and collaboration. It seems like everyone's talking about networking these days, but how do you go beyond just collecting business cards and actually build real relationships that lead to something?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's all about moving beyond the surface level and finding real human connection. Like, go to industry events and actually talk to people, not just hand out your card.
Right.
Join online groups where you can share what you know and help others. And don't be afraid to reach out to people you admire. Even if it's just a simple message, can really go a long way.
So it's about building real relationships and not just collecting contacts. But how do you avoid being pushy or coming across like you just want something from them?
Authenticity is key. Be genuine, be helpful, and be interested in the people you're connecting with. People can tell when you're not being real. So come from a place of generosity and genuine curiosity.
That makes sense. Speaking of authenticity, the article also talks about authenticity and consistency. I'm guessing those two go hand in hand.
Oh, totally. Being authentic means being yourself, both online and offline. People can spot a fake a mile away. And consistency is important because it reinforces who you are over time. If you're always changing your message or how you present yourself, people won't know what to think.
So be consistent, be genuine, and let your personality shine through.
Exactly. People want to connect with real people, not some fake persona.
Right. So we've talked about defining your brand identity, building your online presence, creating good content, and networking authentically. What's next?
The next one might surprise you. It's developing leadership skills.
Oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that. What's the connection between leadership and personal branding?
Well, a strong personal brand isn't just about promoting yourself. It's about inspiring and influencing others. So the better you are at things like communication and decision making, and the better you are at motivating and inspiring people, the stronger your personal brand will be.
So leading by example is part of your brand.
Exactly. People are drawn to strong leaders who have a clear vision. So if you work on your leadership skills, it will naturally make your personal brand stronger.
That's fascinating. I never thought about it that way. Okay, what's next on the list?
The next one is embracing your unique perspective.
Ooh, I like that. What does that mean?
Think about it. What's the one thing that makes you different? What special insights or experiences do you have that nobody else does? Own that. Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo and share your unique point of view with the world.
I love that. Be bold, be different, let your voice be heard. But so many people are afraid to stand out. How do you get over that fear?
You have to realize that your unique perspective is actually your biggest strength. It's what sets you apart and makes you memorable. Embrace your individuality, celebrate your differences, and don't be afraid to show your true colors. The right people will appreciate it.
I love that. Turn your weaknesses into strengths. That's a powerful message. Okay, what about the last strategy on the list?
The last one is seeking feedback. It can be tough to put yourself out there and ask for criticism, but it's so important.
Oh yeah, I can see how that would be scary. Why is it so important to ask for feedback when you're building your brand?
Because feedback gives you an outside perspective on how your brand is coming across. It can help you see things you might not have noticed yourself, refine your message, and make sure you're connecting with your target audience. It can even help you avoid problems down the road.
So it's like getting a reality check, making sure you're on the right track.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be afraid to ask people for their honest opinions. Ask your audience, your colleagues, your mentors, even your friends and family. Be open to what they have to say, even if it's not always easy to hear. Feedback is a gift, even when it's not what you expected.
I like that. Feedback is a gift.
The most important thing to remember is that building a personal brand is a journey, not a destination. It's something you're always working on and refining as you grow and your goals change.
So it's not something you just check off your to-do list.
Nope, it's an ongoing process. And it's a process worth embracing because a strong personal brand can really make a huge difference in your success.
That's a great point. But how do you actually translate all of this into real-world results? How do you use your personal brand to achieve your goals as an entrepreneur?
That's a fantastic question. And that's exactly what we'll be exploring in the next part of our conversation. Now it's like a must-have for anyone who wants to make a real impact, especially if you're starting your own thing. It's like everyone's building their own media empire now.
Oh, I like that analogy. So how should entrepreneurs be thinking about this? Like, where do they even start when it comes to using their personal brand to be successful?
Well, the first thing is to really figure out what makes them unique. Like, what are they really good at? What are they truly passionate about? What problems can they solve better than anyone else? Once they know that, they can start building a brand that reflects who they really are.
It's like finding your niche, but for yourself.
Exactly. And then it's about getting that message out there consistently on all their platforms, whether it's their website, social media, or even just how they talk to people. Everything should be saying the same thing about who they are.
Consistency is key. It's about being authentic day after day.
Absolutely. Because when you're consistent, people start to trust you. They see you as an expert, someone who always delivers. And that makes them more likely to want to work with you or recommend you to others.
So it's not just about being known, it's about building a reputation that people can count on.
Right. And that takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
What else should entrepreneurs keep in mind as they build their personal brand?
Well, it's important to stay up to date on the latest trends, both in your industry and in the world of personal branding. Things are always changing, so you need to be willing to adapt and try new things.
So never stop learning.
Exactly. Read industry blogs, go to conferences, listen to podcasts like this one, stay curious, and keep learning. Honestly, one of the best resources is your network.
Those connections.
Yeah,
tapping into the collective wisdom, right?
exactly. Reach out to people you admire, ask for advice, learn from their experiences.
So what about the bigger picture? How does personal branding play into building a successful business?
I think it's more important than ever. In today's world, people want to do business with brands they trust and believe in. It can help you attract investors, get those big clients, and even hire amazing people. It really touches every part of your business. I like to think of it like this: your personal brand is kind of like a magnet.
Okay.
So you got to make sure your magnet is strong enough and you're holding it in the right place to attract the things you want.
But how do we make sure our magnet is strong enough to actually attract those dream opportunities?
Well, the first thing is clarity. You have to be super clear about who you are, what you do, and who you help. The more specific you are, the better. It's like a laser beam, not a flashlight. The next big thing is visibility. It doesn't matter how amazing your brand is if nobody knows about it. You got to get out there and be seen, be heard, share your expertise, get into conversations, connect with people in your industry. Be where your ideal audience is. It's all about providing value. Ask yourself, what does your audience need? What do they want?
Okay.
Create content that teaches them something, inspires them, or even just entertains them. Instead of talking about how great you are all the time, show them your expertise by offering helpful insights and solutions to their problem.
All right, so clarity, visibility. What's the last piece of the puzzle to make sure our magnet is in the right spot?
Consistency. That's what really cements your brand and builds trust and credibility over time.
It's like showing up every day, doing the work, even when you don't feel like it.
Exactly. It's about constantly creating and sharing valuable stuff, being real with your audience, and just showing up as your authentic self. One thing that really helps is creating a content calendar. Like actually plan out your social media posts, your blog articles, everything in advance.
Okay.
That way you're not scrambling last minute. And try to set aside some time each week for networking and reaching out to people. Even an hour or two can make a big difference. And remember, it's okay to start small. You don't have to do everything at once. Maybe pick one or two platforms to focus on and then build from there.
What advice would you give to entrepreneurs who are feeling overwhelmed by all this?
Remember, you don't have to be perfect.
Right.
It's a journey, not a race. Focus on making progress, not being perfect. Don't be afraid to try things and learn as you go. And most importantly, have fun.
Yes. It shouldn't feel like a chore.
Exactly.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for joining us on the Power of Possibility channel for this awesome conversation on personal branding.